Okay, I got something that when I was transitioning to pro found really somewhat troubling, and that is the way that tables work and a sequence of events that you have to be really particular with regarding launching tables, making attributes changes or alias changes, specifically things like domain changes on tables in conjunction with spatial edits. So let me just work my way through it and try and demonstrate it because it's something I've struggled with a little bit, and I'm sure there's resources online. I just haven't gone to the great detail. I just like to try and figure it out myself. But here's a table of a point feature class I have. It's pretty straightforward, not too much. If you want to go into the views of tables when you're active in the table window, and you'll note I say active, it's what's outlined in the blue box here. I have the table docked at the bottom here. I have the map window docked at the top. And you can see the blue line here across the active ribbon, or sorry, tab, I guess they're called, will have effects on the ribbons that are available up here. So the map ribbons look different when I'm active in the map window than do the table ribbons here when I'm active in the table, as you can see. So to look at the table, to set aliases, to turn fields on and off, you go up to this table view here and just go to the fields. This gives you then an inside look, and you can turn on and off visible layers, invisible layers. Anytime you make a change, you'll notice the rows turn green. In this case, I turn them all off, then turn it back on. And the subsequent save button is activated at the top of the ribbon here if you make any changes. So anytime you want to add a new field, you can just come in and just add it directly in here. Give an alias, a type, length. You can specify your domains right from within here. But you can see here, I've added some new functionality. So I have the green rows to indicate I've made changes, and I can save those here. It goes through and applies those changes. And if I jump back into the regular table here, now I've got that, an alias for the new attribute I've created. Jumping back in here, if you're back up on this ribbon up top, you can see now this is the domains button, which opens a third one. I don't know why all the windows are automatically kind of fudged over to the right, but here's two pick lists or type domains I've created. Again, I can go through adding additional ones. Whatever. You can see green rows again for new additional thing, amendments or new content. And again, save is an option here in the domain at the top. And I believe this asterisk also stands for edits. Yeah. So the asterisk is for outstanding saves that need to happen. So that's the functionality. Aliases are useful. Anytime you make a change, you hit save and you jump back in and you've got your aliases displayed. That's really quite useful. Let's say I don't want to show this field, or this field. I make that change, hit save, and jump back to the table. And now I've just sort of limited the view of the fields. But one thing that's troubling, at least with that functionality in terms of tables, is if you do that in conjunction with spatial edits. So I'll demonstrate that here. I'm going to jump back up into the map. What are we calling this? Docket? I don't know the terminology. Anyway, the map window. On the edit tab, I'm going to select a feature. And I have one selected here. I'm going to use the attribute on the side panel here to specify I have one point feature highlighted. I'm just going to select move. I'm going to move it. Or I'm going to try and move it. What am I doing? Stop. Clear. Select. Move. Okay. And I'm going to hit F2 to stop that. So I have one feature that's been moved. And you can see here on the edit ribbon, save is an option. Just to give you an example of that process and sequencing of events regarding tables in conjunction with spatial edits. Let's say I go back into my domain and I want to add an additional domain value here. I've added a new row. I've got a green record signifying I've got an amendment to this, but you can see the save button is not an option. I have to go back into any outstanding spatial edits that I have and first save those. This is something that I put a comment on GeoNet a while back. I'm sure there's content, but it took me quite some time to come to that realization that if there are outstanding spatial edits, you got to finish those off before you can apply and save tabular edits. So here I'll save that edit on the spatial record. It pops up with what's changed, the name of the feature from the map contents. Just hit yes, and now you can see that save button is or it's not active anymore. Now if I come back down and make this active, you see the save button is not grayed out. I can save it now, and my changes are applied. So anyway, keep in mind, if you're doing spatial edits in conjunction with tabular stuff, be sure that you follow that sequence, saving your spatial edits first before you can save any of the tabular views, aliases, and or subsequent domains. That's it. Happy mapping. Carry on.